Welcome back to my channel. My name is Pope, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this amazing game of police car chase on Scratch. Now in this game you have a car that is moving around on these 5 lanes, and we have all these trees, and then so there are 5 lanes, and we have to try to dodge all the other cars that we're passing by. If you pass one of the regular cars, then you get 1 point, and these are your points up here. And from time to time, there's going to be a police car that comes, and it's following you. If you pass by a police car, you get 10 points. And also, at the end, when you crash, there's this cool effect where these two different cars, the police cars, come and arrest you. So let's get started. Click the create button, and the first thing we're going to do is get the car that we will be controlling. So I am going to upload my car. So get rid of the cat, upload sprite, and here I have this red car. Okay, here it is. Now first we need to point it up because that's the way it's gonna go. Now make sure you're in vector, because if you're in bitmap then it's gonna get pixelated. The image is gonna get pixelated. So first click shift and then to rotate it so that it goes only in the exact spots. So okay, and then let's make a smaller 2. Oh, okay, bit smaller. And that should be good. Now next we will make the car move with the left and right arrows. So, and at the beginning let's actually position it. So when green clicked, go to do x0, and y will be -150. So it should be somewhere here at the bottom of the screen, maybe a bit higher. So 140, -140. Okay, that's good. Alright, next, forever, if key right arrow pressed, then we will change x by, let's say, 5. Duplicate it, key left press, change it by -5. Let's test it. You can see that works. Next, we will add a background. So let's go to the backgrounds, and I'm just actually going to draw it. So we'll make a nice gray rectangle. That should be good. And then the sides will be green, like grass. So let's do something like that. Oh, convert to bitmap. And there you go. Next, we're going to draw the lines that will separate the road into different lanes. So let's paint a sprite, and we're basically going to make lines. So they're going to be black lines with an outline of 10, because the background is white right now. Alright, and hold shift to get a perfect line. The line shouldn't be too big or too small. And also then we need to copy and paste, and then you can use the arrows to make it perfectly aligned, and then you can check on the screen if they're perfectly aligned. So yeah, there you go. Now they're perfectly aligned. Then use the down arrow, and you should leave a pretty, not too big, not too small gap between them. And then you can copy and paste both of them, and we will make them perfectly aligned again with the arrows. Again, check on the screen to make sure they are perfectly aligned. And now the gaps should be kind of similar, but they don't have to be perfect. Okay, so that should be good. And then we're just gonna copy one more because we need about one more to finish the screen. So this one's not perfectly aligned. Now let's put it down. Alright, there you go. So basically what this line is going to do is it's going to keep going down to create the sensation of motion. And now when it reaches the bottom, it will go back up, and when it reaches the bottom, it will go back up, and so on, to also create the sensation of motion. So basically what we're going to do is select all of it, and we're just going to put it a bit higher. So here we go. Okay, so basically we're just going to make these lines white now. So just change the outline to white, and there you go. Make sure you select all of them when you do that. Alright, and basically next we are going to duplicate this big part, so all 5 of these small lines 4 times so that we can make 5 different lanes. Okay, so first you gotta make sure they are aligned, and then we gotta move them this way. Now make sure one of those red cars, or whatever car you use, fits in between 2. Right? Now I'm going to get another one. Okay, and another one. Okay, now let's make sure the X is in 0 so that it's more centered. Alright, so now let's center this one. Center these lines. Alright, there you go. Oh, nope. There you go. Alright, so now what we're going to do is just, see here on the screen, we're just going to make it better. We're just going to adjust it a bit. Alright, there you go. And now we're just going to make the lanes more the same, because some of them were bigger and some of them were smaller before. Now we're just going to make them the same. Alright. Okay. That's good. Now I'm going to check if my car fits through all 5 lanes. So the first one, it's too small. Second one's good. Third one, that's good. Fourth one is good. And the last one is too small. So what we are going to do is go to the backdrops and just draw a bigger rectangle over this other rectangle. So let's get a rectangle. So something like that should be good. Alright, now there's one thing I saw when I was testing it. I saw that the car goes under the lines, which is not really good. That doesn't look realistic. So we're just going to tell the lines to, when green flag clicked, go to back layer. Oh, not front, back. Okay, so yeah, now the car goes on top of the lines. That's good. Next, we want to make the lines move down so that it looks like motion. So let's go here, change y by, and we're going to do, let's say, -10. See? Oh, and obviously, whoops, I forgot, forever. Alright, now let's see. And now we see that at one point, it reaches a point where if it keeps going down, then it'll just be like a blank rectangle. So we don't want to let that happen. So if it reaches a certain point, so if y position is smaller than a certain position, then it will set its y to a certain position. So to find out those positions, we need to see when it reaches the certain point where if it keeps going lower, it'll just be a rectangle with no lines. So right here, that's the point. So remember the y position, negative 54. So that's what it has to be smaller than. And then, so if y position is smaller than negative 54, then set y to, and now we're going to find that value. So I need to keep going up, putting this up, until it's in the same position. So right there, when it's in that same position. So we see the y is now 37. So let's test it. And I can see that there are little bumps. Now to see more clearly that there are little bumps, I'm just going to make this negative 1 for now. So here, you saw that little bump? Here, let's see it again. Right there, you saw that? It was a little bump, like it went up and down. So this needs to be smaller. Let's try to make 34. Let's keep it negative 1 so you can see. I don't see any bumps now. So that is good. Let's make this back into negative 10. And keep in mind that these two numbers right here, they will be different for you depending on how you drew the lines. Now also at the beginning, let's set x to 0 because we want the lines to be centered. Alright, now let's test it. And yeah, that looks good. Now we are going to get a tree sprite so that we can put them here on the sides of the road as like decoration. So let's upload a sprite. And I have 3 different trees, and I'm just going to get one and then put the other 2 as costumes in the other one. So let's let it load here. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to upload 2 more costumes like I said. It's my second one. And my third one. Alright, there you go. Now let's make them smaller. So convert to vector, select it, and just make, oh, not that small. It's too small. Something around this size, that looks good. Alright, let's change the other sizes for the other 2 costumes. That is good. Alright. And, oh, whoops, convert to vector. And that is good. Alright, now we're going to make the tree come down. So we're going to do a, well, first of all, we need clones. So I'm going to clicked, forever, create clone, and we'll wait like a pick random from, let's say, half a second to a second. Alright. And basically when I start as a clone, we will pick a costume. Switch costume to pick random 1 to 3 because I have 3 different trees. So pick random 1 to 3. And then I will just rotate them or pick random because if we just leave them the same, then you can tell it's the same and it'll just not look realistic because not all trees look the same. So we will turn this direction. You pick random from, let's say, 0 to 180 degrees. Okay? And then we are going to basically, because we need to know when to put a tree on this side of the road and when to put a tree on this side of the road. So basically we'll like flip a coin. If it's 1, it'll go on this side, otherwise it'll go on this side. So for this we'll do if else. So if pick random 1 to 2 equals 2, equals 1, well you can do either, but I'm going to do 1. If it equals 1, then we will set x to, let's say, 150. And otherwise, do it to negative 150. And we'll just put in a show block so that it'll show, because we need to hide the original. Alright, there you go, show. And then we need to bring it back on top. So we will set y to, let's say, 200. Alright, and then, so basically it'll keep doing this until it reaches the bottom. So we will repeat until it's touching the bottom. So basically y position is smaller than, let's say, not 50, negative 150. And we'll repeat, and we'll have to move until then, so we will change y by negative 10, and negative because we want it to go down, and 10 because that's the same speed that the road is coming down with. So that's good. And let's also make sure we put a delete this clone block at the end, and we'll go ahead and test. Now that is good, except for one thing, which is that the trees go away too fast. So let's make this number right here smaller. Negative 200 maybe? And that looks much better. That looks like it goes all the way to the bottom of the screen and then disappears. Alright, that's good. Next, let's go ahead and get the other car that's going to be coming and that you're going to be passing by. So, upload sprite. And I actually have this thing with 5 different cars. I'm just going to cut out 4 of the cars and just use 1 of them. And how I'm going to do that is by going to costumes, make sure I'm in bitmap, and I want to keep this car in the middle here. So I'm going to select these, delete those, and select these 2 and delete them. Alright, so now all I have is this car. Now this car is pointing to the left. I want it to point up because we're going to be passing by the car. The car is not going to be coming towards us. So let's point it up. And also let's make it a bit smaller. So it should be about the same size as the red car. So something about that size. That looks good. So let's go to the code, and we are going to, when green flag clicked, we're just going to create some clones of this car. So when green flag clicked, forever, create clone of myself, and we'll do the exact same as the tree. We'll wait, pick random 0.5 to 1 seconds. Alright, and when I start as a clone, we will want it to appear on one of the 5 lanes. And we do that by seeing what the X position will be for for each of the 5 lanes. So for the first one, I have negative 105. So let's round that to negative 100 because 5 pixels doesn't really matter. Alright, so negative 100. Move on to the next one. Here we have negative 49, so negative 50, say. Here on the 3rd lane we have 3, let's round it to 0. Then our 4th lane we've got 53, so let's round it to 50. And in our 5th lane we've got 106, so like 100. So I see that my pattern is like plus 50 every time. So you saw negative 100 to negative 50 to 0 and so on. Now your pattern most likely will be different than mine. But anyway, since that's my pattern, we're going to set X to, and we're going to set it to, we need to pick random from 0 to 4, 1 for each lane. So pick random 0 to 4. And now, since every time it was changing by 50, we're going to multiply this by 50. So pick random. So 50 times the pick random. And since my beginning value was negative 100, we'll do negative 100 plus 50 times pick random. So negative 100 plus. Alright, so let's test it. Okay, oh, so let's hide the original. Oh, we made clones, I forgot. So, see? Okay, now we have to show them. So one here, one there. And yeah, so basically they're in every single lane. See? So that's good. Next, I saw that these cars are going on top of the trees. So the trees will go on the very top layer. So when I started as a clone, go to front layer. Because it doesn't make sense for a car to go on top of a tree. You want the car to go under the tree, right? So next, at the cars, we want them to start at the Y 200. And basically, want them to keep coming down until they touch the bottom, just like the trees. So we will repeat until touching the bottom. So Y position is smaller than negative 200. Then we will change Y by negative 5 because we want it to go slower than the road. Alright, there we see them, they're coming down, so that is good. Now at the end we want to delete this clone because they keep piling down at the bottom of the screen. So we'll just put a delete this clone there. Alright, let's test it. And we can see that still doesn't work, and that's because they must never reach negative 200. That's their Y position. Let's change this to something that they might actually reach, like negative 180. Change it now. Alright, there you go. That works. They they delete the clone when they reach the bottom. So that's good. So that was it for part 1 of this game. And in the next video, I'll show you how to add more things to this game to make it better. Like some cool effects when you crash. And like these police cars that will be chasing you. So I'll see you next time in part 2.